Alright, hey guys. As you can tell, I don't have on my headset today. I'm of course playing this in real time as of recording this, but I don't want to get distracted by in-game dialogue shit. So more or less, if you guys have Twitter or anything like that, have you guys seen that whole issue with the Good Doctor on Twitter? I kind of want to talk about that in today, and I guess also probably Sunday's video as well. It kind of depends on how I edit this. Probably just today's video. The major issues with the Good Doctor about how, like, representation of autism and all things like, and stuff like that. This is coming from somebody who has a mild form of autism, kind of more in the extreme of that mild form of it, just due to certain things that I do.
This must be the...
More or less, it is kind of insulting, because I've seen the first season of The Good Doctor.
Not very impressive, is it?
And I did, in fact, find it a little insulting when I watched it. And this is kind of before I kind of fully figured out, like, oh yeah, I have autism. I had suspicions about it, and I got it confirmed like a few years ago. I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense for how I act and stuff like that. But outside of that, I'll take this. Actually, I don't even need that. Outside of that, like, watching it, I was like, this is such an extreme version of, like, the actor is playing a character that has such the most extreme version of autism, more in the development of lack of emotional development and more logical thought process development has increased. There's an extreme case of that, and that's what the actor is portraying. And like, that is a small aspect of having autism. I mean, myself, I have a weird mixture of little emotional development, more towards like emotions like happiness and love. Anger and sadness are very easy to come to me. That's neither here nor there. I don't want to get into that. But when you watch it, the whole, how he thinks is like in images, that is so not how it actually works. You associate words with images, like with my tattoo, pain and happiness. I associate that with a coin. One side is pain and one side is happiness, and they're two sides of the same coin. That's how I associate things. And that's how a vast majority of people with autism associate things. But due to the whole how extreme it is, you don't fully see the different aspects or the different levels of autism, because there's also there's a movie that came out in 1991 called Lawnmower Man that has the opposite of the extreme level of entirely emotional thought process, somebody who somebody who can't really think in a high logical standard in a normal logical way, but knows right from wrong pretty much. And that is the other extreme that can happen. But what the fuck, where are my keys? Okay, now it's gonna do its own thing. But the whole issue that I have with the Good Doctor is the Lawnmower Man is its own problem. And I suggest watching Double Toasted. They're a movie review channel. They literally, like, a few days ago on YouTube, they uploaded their review for it. The main issue with the Good Doctor is that it just shows the worst representation of a far extreme of autism. I mean, yes, there are some things that I also have to deal with, similar to the character, the main character from the Good Doctor. Repeating words and phrases, that, like, the main thing that's been going on is like, I'm a surgeon, when he's arguing with Dr. Han, a main character that everybody was talking shit about, but now it's like, oh, he's cool. This is a whole random bullshit thing in the show. I don't give a fuck. But
Then let's get going.
more or
I wanna
less,
get there
you
before
look
my
at it
father
and it's
has
like,
a chance to
okay,
track
I
us
deal with
down.
issues of repeating words and phrases. That's very rare to me, only whenever I get highly stressed or anything like that.
I can't say.
But
I just
when
don't know.
I kind of see how also, like, yeah, there are tics that I also do, like moving my hands whenever I get overly stressed, like when Leo, he's literally over here, a couple weeks back, ran out of the house, out into the garage, which the garage door was open, and I freaked the fuck out a little bit. I mean, situations like that, that's where, like, oh, my tics and things are gonna show up. And yeah, I can't really think right now. When I was first diagnosed, I was really young because my mom noticed that, hey, there's something off with my kid. Might as well get him tested. It's like, okay, yeah, he does have autism. My mom then did what the doctor suggested and put me into speech and physical therapy, and then into a program called Jump or Head Start. Essentially, I know it's in Texas. I don't know what other states in the U.S. it is in, but it is essentially like a pre-K, so pre-kindergarten, a pre-version of that. So it was to help me get used to being around kids the same age as me and everything like that. And my mom never had me like put that onto my medical records, because if it was on my medical records, and in the US you have to give your medical records to the schools. So if my mom had done that, I would have had to be forced essentially to be put into the special ed classes, and my mom didn't want that for me because she thought that would be belittling and that would coddle me too much and prevent growth, emotional and fucking goddamn it. That's another issue. I can't say certain words or phrases. If I'm calm, if I'm excited, I can say I'm just like that. But when I'm thinking and trying to be logical with it, I can't say shit. But yeah, it would have stunted my growth if I was in those classes, and my mom didn't want that. She didn't want that to happen to me, so she had me just be in regular classes and develop like a normal kid. That's why I am the way I am now. And in all that therapy and stuff that my mom had me put into at a young age, if you are around people that have gone through those similar therapies or the exact same thing that I went through, because I don't know what I went through because I was really young, you will be able to tell. It's like, okay, this guy has autism. I mean, early on, like into like the second or third month of when I worked at McDonald's, my manager at the time, his name was John, like when I mentioned, like, yeah, I've to him and the main closer, the other main closer at the time before I quit, he's like, oh, you have, oh, that makes sense. When I mentioned, like, yeah, certain things just kind of stress me out a lot very easily, and I can't help but just kind of freak out a little bit because I have autism. It's most of the time I have it under control, and just because I went to therapy, but sometimes I don't. So then I just like need space and everything like that. And he was like, oh, it kind of makes a lot of sense for your mannerisms and things like that. It's like awesome. He was very understanding and did his best to be accommodating for how I could possibly be depending on certain stressful situations, and I was grateful for that. A great manager, and I miss working with him. I really do. But going back into the good doctor, it's just like I don't understand why they always show one of the two extremes of the fucking moron. I have to swear at this point, because it's just like, oh, you show the extreme moron who doesn't understand and is very nice and kind-hearted, and then you have the logical, indifferent person who doesn't understand other people's emotions and will take a very fucking long time to finally understand other people's emotions. It doesn't make sense why they always in media will show one of those two extremes when it comes to autism. Like the different spectrums of autism. And it's just like, why? Why do they do that to themselves? You're shooting yourselves in the foot. You're misrepresenting a good portion of the human population, because I don't really know the statistics, and I'm not even gonna bother to look them up. Somebody in the comments can do that, but it's just I find it overall frustrating, and it's demeaning in a way. It doesn't. You're being disrespectful to so many people in the world with that, and others might not see a problem with it. I mean, those that live with it will find a problem with it, but those that know others with autism might find it endearing in a way. And I could see that perspective where, like, hey, it's representation of who you are. Think of like a mom talking to a daughter or a son or something like that. Like, hey, this is representing not specifically who you are, but like someone like you. And it's like, okay, I can understand that, but it's still disrespectful in the fact that it's showing a very far extreme that is not often common in people. I mean, one show that actually did it okay, I guess, was Chicago MD or whatever, where I think in the 3rd season there was, I can't remember this actor's name, but he played a lead surgeon, brain surgeon specifically, and it was like, oh, he has Asperger's, and I was like, okay, he still can think emotionally, it's just he doesn't understand people. He can think emotionally, but it takes him a while to fully comprehend it. And I was like, that's a better representation. I mean, I might be misremembering it, but at least from my perspective, that's like the best representation that you could get. I don't remember the character's name, I don't even remember the actor's name, and I probably will never remember, and I'm not even gonna remember to look it up. If I do, good on me. If I don't, who gives a shit? But just looking at it, it's, again, in my opinion, disrespectful, but also from another standpoint of, if you know somebody that has it and you don't personally have it and you've had to live with them, you might find it endearing in a way that they're getting that somebody with autism is getting representation in media. So I can understand both of those perspectives, but outside of that, it's just from my own personal perspective, and probably definitely the perspective of many other people that have autism, I just find it insulting. That's what I think about it, and there will be no denying of that. I wish I can get over there. I can, yes. Oh, you made it over too, because I didn't fall. There we go. But yeah, it's just a whole hodgepodge of just being demeaning and not endearing in the way that they want it to be. But due to I will say this, due to like the memes and stuff, it just makes it even worse. Of like, oh, I'm a surgeon, I'm a surgeon, I'm a surgeon, because that's the phrase that he repeats. There are many memes going on like, oh, you don't like trains, saying you don't like trains, and then the main character is like, I'm repeating the phrase, I'm a surgeon. It's like, okay, that is very demeaning, even more insulting and disrespectful. I mean, just because it's like, okay, sometimes we, especially for me, when I get too angry or frustrated, I can't help but repeat certain phrases because that is the first thing that comes to mind, and it represents, at least in my thought process, how I feel. So it doesn't really make sense that people are now in 2023 having major fucking issues with it, especially so vocally. I mean, Twitter is, I mean, I kind of expected that to happen. I thought it was going to happen when I first saw trailers for it. I was like, I don't like this. When the first few trailers for The Good Doctor came out, I didn't like it. I was like, this seems very disrespectful. And again, to me it is. But if I remember correctly, when the trailers came out, they were like, oh, this is amazing, this is great representation, and I look back at it now, I was like, oh, what the fuck were we thinking? That's probably the whole thought process of people that were like praising the show, when in fact, no, this show shouldn't be as praised as it is. Realistically, I mean, the acting is great, but just, representation of a minority of people that have mental health like just again mental health issues, that it is a mental health problem, but it is a more not on a psychological sense. It's more of a biological problem because it's something that happened during development of the embryo and all that shit. Where do I go? I don't remember. Shit, god damn it, motherfucker. I've been just kind of aimlessly wandering this entire time. I don't remember where I'm supposed to go. But yeah, that's just my entire perspective on it. I want to know what you guys think, y'all think, those that don't really have issues of autism like I do, or really anybody else. Like, what do y'all think about it? What is your perspective on it? Because it's just, to me, again, it's insulting in several ways. But not everybody is going to really see that. Here we go. I'm gonna throw it right now. Good job. So I don't get hit by the boulders. Oh, I got hit by them. But I heal instantaneously, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, there aren't really many shows that do it. I think there was a show in the 90s that had a main character that had Down syndrome, and that was great. But really, outside of that, there aren't many shows or movies that really have proper representation of people. Because one, if not a lot of people really know or want to admit that they have autism, because they feel like they're going to be belittled, and it's a difficult lifestyle, well, a difficult life to have. I mean, not lifestyle, that's so inappropriate. Even just thinking about how I worded that is just wrong. It's a difficult life to live, because you have to make sure to be accommodating for other people's emotions from my perspective of having it, due to the aspect of autism that I have to be very accommodating towards other people's emotions. I'm very indifferent towards other people's emotions unless I care about them, and that is a very, very small portion of people that I have met. Maybe in total 6 people out of the possible thousands of randos that I've met. I'm an asshole. That's just gonna realistically be given, even if I didn't have autism. But it's much more difficult for me to be accommodating towards the people, and even towards the people that I care about, being accommodating towards even being accommodating, say the word correctly, towards those people is incredibly difficult. Just because I don't fully register what they're feeling most of the time, unless they're feeling high levels of a certain emotion, like sadness or anger. Then I register it, and then I respond in kind sometimes. Most of the time with anger, I respond with frustration, and that makes situations worse, because I don't get it. That's just how it works with me. And that's not true with every person with autism. It never is. It's not true with any person, with every person that has a similar problem or issue. Realistically, it's not going to be the same. But because of misrepresentation or only representing an extreme of something in media and things, media and the like, it's just annoying, really. That's my entire thought process on it. I don't really I hope that there will be better representation of autism, of the different, really just the different aspects of autism in media. I mean, there is that movie with that Down syndrome, with like the Down syndrome basketball team, but that is one aspect of it. That's always going to have better representation than the other parts of autism, like Asperger's, or I don't really know what form of autism I have, but a very mild form of it. Just, it's always going to be, Down syndrome is going to, as of late, Down syndrome is definitely going to have better representation than the general form of autism that many people have. I think that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, that is what I'm trying to say. But again, it's that's my perspective on it. What do you guys think? That this is a dialogue I want to open up with people. I would even love to open this dialogue up with people that have autism, like other much bigger YouTubers. I would love to have a conversation with somebody. I don't know. The first person that comes to mind is Boba. She's on the, like somebody on the Yogscast. She's what, 11 years older than me? Because when this comes out, on what, Friday, May 12th, if I remember correctly, is when I planned for this video to come out. In 2 days after that, on Sunday, May 14th, also Mother's Day, I will be 20. So I would love to have like her perspective on it, because she's talked on like Twitter, she's mentioned on Twitter and stuff, like how she
questions. I expected as much.
like for a long time she didn't know she had autism up until I think recently. So I would like her perspective on it, of somebody who pretty much spent their entire adult life not knowing they had autism until very recently, just because it would be an interesting dialogue to have with somebody like that. That again is just my perspective on it. Anyways, since I have now spent so much time talking about all that stuff, and I've actually now started going through the cave. I actually don't know how long. I'm gonna go through this until we get to the Forgotten Vale itself. This is a big area. I've been poisoned. I don't give a shit if I've been poisoned. I can actually... Jesus, it's loud as fuck. I can hear it. I don't have my headset on, but I can hear it. Like all the noises and stuff. You guys can also probably hear it too. So I think I'm actually gonna end up I'm gonna put on my headset, because it is loud. So hang on. Yep, there we go. Ooh, skeleton, skelebones, skeleton, skele. But yeah, again, that's my whole perspective on it, especially with like the representation of autism in media. Just in general, it's in many ways respectful and disrespectful from my perspective, just because certain aspects are represented pretty well, and other aspects are not. Alright, I think I'm gonna take a break from that fucking dialogue, and alright, that's the pathway I was about to take, but I didn't take it. Where is... Yes, Dragon Bone Crossbow. You can shoot these beforehand, so the chorus hunters don't spawn. You have to be careful, just have to realize where they're at. There should be another one nearby. Is that one?
Looks like these Falmer are here to stay.
Break that one. Really? And of course, I'm not good at this. It's been a little bit since I've actually played. I actually don't know how long it's been since I played. Alright. Re-equip all this stuff. And go back to killing. Murder in the highest form. Yeah! There we go. Chorus Hunter Fledgling. Okay. What path do I need to take now? I don't fucking know. I always get lost when it comes to this stuff. Oh, hello, Palmer. Oh, you're dead. Something else is alive. And it should not be alive. What's over there? Okay. Contact, why are you being weird?
Who's there?
Some Falmer, Serana. Some Falmer. Ugh. I had a whole thing of, like frozen lasagna. Probably not my best decision, but I like to eat because I'm fat. I have a very big gut right now. Not Bert Kreischer big, but still big.
Be careful. I think
Mm. I think I go this way. Yeah, I go this way. I could go around, but I want to kill. What's all this? Ice or Stalrum? It's ice. Ultimate stamina potion. Thank you.
I knew I heard something.
Oh. There we go. Ah, Serana.
Done.
I like you, girl, but you took my kills. And again, this isn't COD, so why the fuck am I complaining? What is this? Oh. Gleam Blossom, whatever. Where do I go? I go this way. Yes. Cool. I never actually have paid attention when doing all of this. I just kind of, like when I was talking about my pet peeve in media and shit.
Where'd you come from?
Alright, well I thought I could be effective with that. Hello, former warmonger. You're now dead. Why can't I behead these These fuckers. I was trying to say the fuckers and fools at the same time, but it didn't work out.
Who's there?
Master chest. Yeah, but nothing good. Awful. Alright, there we go. Those Falmer are now dead. Activate that tripwire. Oh, I never noticed this room. Diamond on that. Alchemy.
Where'd you come from?
Another Chorus Hunter.
Let me teach you.
The end of their life cycle there.
Where'd you
Oh my god. I hate these things. They're gross. They remind me of gnats and flies, and I hate those things. Just because they're annoying as hell. Alright, is that it with that? What do these guys drop? Oh, I don't need that. And nothing in here either. Okay. Oh, that was a waste of time. Back over this way. Can't do anything with that. You okay, Serana? You're not gonna die on me, are you? That's so cool. Alright. Now, not related to the whole good doctor problems and shit. What are y'all's thoughts on the possible like Skyrim stuff in the future? Well, with like, oh, the Creation Club stuff. What are your thoughts on that? What do you think they're gonna do with all that shit? I'll take that, because it'll be interesting to have. Now where do I go? Poison Blossom. Didn't know that was a thing. Alright. Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I think it's interesting that they're kind of around the time that Starfield is going to release, they're probably going to do stuff related to more stuff with Skyrim, which is kind of odd to me that they're thinking about doing that. Or at least probably the time before, most likely after the Xbox Bethesda, well, the Xbox Games Showcase. Probably a little bit after that, they're going to do stuff with the Creation Club. Creation Club, Jesus, cannot speak. So it'll be interesting to see like what user created mods and stuff are going to be in that. All right, we're leaving the cave.
Welcome, initiate. Then behold Ariel's gift, my child.
Oh yeah, it's
May it light
Ariel
your
instead of
path as you
Oriel,
seek
or Ariel,
tranquility within the inner sanctum.
or Ariel. I don't know. Oh, have you guys seen the trailer for the Meg 2? It looks so bad, like in a good way. Or just like, oh, this is campy and shit. So it it looks bad in the way that, like, oh, they actually have pretty good paleo stuff going on with that movie, like with the T-Rex and shit. And of course they have some random bullshit creatures that they made up just for the movie, and it is in no way connected to the book at all, which is hilarious, at least to me. Like, okay, we'll take some stuff from the book and just throw everything out of the window. I haven't even read the book, but that's just more or less my thought process here. Anyways, we're now in the Forgotten Vale. So, I'm gonna end off this video here. I'm just gonna stand here for a few seconds and say goodbye.